Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Spider Monkey Eats. Today I'm going to show you guys what to do with this spaghetti squash. We're going to make an awesome dinner. The base that I'm going to show you again is going to be the spaghetti squash. If you've never worked with it, it's awesome. So it's a really good alternative to actually eating pasta because it's a squash that once it's cooked, it actually will shred right into thin spaghetti pieces. Okay, I really won't even be able to tell the difference. It's awesome to make with maybe pesto, tomato sauce, anything. We're gonna cook it. Once it is cooked, we're just gonna mix it in with a little bit of cooked onions and garlic, fresh with olive oil. Okay, on the side we're going to have some chicken quarters that I'm going to show you guys how I pan sear them in a cast iron skillet and then finish in the oven, and then alongside will be some air fried green beans. Okay, really awesome. So the first thing that we want to do is get the spaghetti squash in because it's going to take some time to cook. When I first started using spaghetti squash, I used to try to get a knife and cut it in half, and it's kind of a scary process. And then I realized something better. We can cook it partially and then cut it in half. Okay, so I did stab some holes in here. You can use a fork or a knife. This is actually pretty easy to go through. Okay, so just to show you guys, you definitely want to poke holes in it before you put it in the oven or else it'll explode. Okay, similar to like potatoes, stuff like that. You need to poke some holes so it can breathe as it's cooking, let the steam come out. So I have the oven preheated to 425. We're going to put this in for about 20 minutes and then I'll be able to slice it and continue cooking with it open faced. Okay, so just going to go on some tin foil here. Okay, and we're going to put this in the oven again for about 20 minutes. And we'll take it out. I'll show you guys how we cut it, and then we'll put it back in and get started on everything else. So, perfect. All right. About 20 minutes. All right, guys. So we had the spaghetti squash in the oven for 20 minutes. So this will be a lot easier to cut. It is hot, obviously. So be careful. Okay. The stem we're not going to cut through. So we're going to find an easy point. Yeah, like butter. Okay, this is why you do not want to try to cut these. I'm going to use a pot holder too. Prior to, I mean you could. Yeah, because it's definitely a little bit rough. So we'll cut down as close to that stem. We're going to turn it over. Well, let's see the best way. Just keep going down first. And flip it as we go. It's a lot easier than this would be. Okay. So again, going to be hot, but I want it to be open faced like this. So I'll leave the seeds in here for now. We will scrape those out after. This needs a lot more time cooking. So I'm going to put this in the oven probably for at least 30 more minutes. We'll scrape out inside seeds and you'll start seeing slowly, but it will just literally shred apart on its own. So we'll put this back in, again, about 30 minutes. You can always check it from time to time, but it's definitely going to need to cook a lot more. Okay, so we'll throw this back in. Same temperature, just open face now. Alright guys, so we had the spaghetti squash in open face for 30 minutes. It's perfect. I already started shredding up one here, and I'm going to show you guys. What I did initially, there you'll see some seeds. Okay, so we have to take out the seeds. There was a bunch more. I already took some out, but I'll use a fork. You will get a little bit of the spaghetti, but Alright, so I'm going to show you guys. See how this literally will just start peeling off. I'm not even doing anything. And it's going to be this stringy, just naturally. Oh, see? Straggler seed. Always a few. Alright. Literally just stringy, just like this. So again, I'll use some pesto sometimes if I want to make some pesto. Spaghetti, spaghetti sauce, like sauce that you make, or just if you want to use jarred sauce if you don't make sauce. But completely shredded. Look, you can even twirl it like spaghetti. Check that out. Okay, so if you guys have never used spaghetti squash, definitely get on it. So look at this, just shredding, that's how I know. And so sometimes if maybe I didn't do the whole 30 minutes at once, if I wasn't sure and I did less, I could start scraping some and then throw it back in if it's not coming off. Okay, but this will go all the way to the skin line. And then again, we're going to cook this. I'm going to heat up some onion and garlic, and we're going to cook this in a pan to give it all that flavor with some olive oil. Okay, so we'll scrape all this out, and then I'll show you that after, but we will get started on our chicken. Alright guys, so I have a cast iron skillet that I heated up. Once it was warm, I then put oil in. I have like a nice thin layer, and what I have going on in here is a clove of garlic that I smashed, but I didn't cut it up because I don't want the amount of time it's going to be cooking, I don't want the little bits to just be completely annihilated. I want some form in that, just giving the oil more flavor, and then a sprig of fresh rosemary that was just cut. So these, I already marinated some chicken leg quarters. We're going to put these skin side down. I don't always leave the skin on, but today we're going to live a little. Okay, so we're going to go skin side down. There is onion, garlic powder, fresh rosemary, thyme. Let's see what we can fit in here. Okay, we want these to get nice and golden. Remember, you're using a cast iron, so the handle is going to be hot. It took me a while to get used to that at first, so use a towel or a pot holder. The chicken's been going for 5 minutes, actually doing well, so we're going to flip this. Okay, nice and golden. It is going to sizzle, so watch out. We could have gone a few more minutes, but this is perfect. Watch out for that oil. Okay, we're going to go about 5 to 7 more minutes on this side, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. Okay, so we'll put our timer on. Timer's actually on for 8, so we're gonna go with that. So turn the heat down a little bit because I don't want it to get too charry, but it is always good to have that flavor on the skin anyways. And this is going to get more color when it is in the oven as well. So we just want to keep an eye on that, and we'll check it out when we're ready to put that in the oven. And the oven has been preheated to 425. We just left that on from the spaghetti squash. So we're just going to throw this in here. We're probably going to cook about 15 minutes and then check the temperature. So again, make sure, be careful grabbing the cast iron because all of it is hot. So we'll put that in. We'll set our timer, 15 minutes. Alright, so we have the onions that I chopped up and some garlic that I chopped up. Nice and small, cooking in some olive oil. We're going to add in our cooked spaghetti squash. Okay, I just wanted the onions and garlic to give it some extra flavor with that olive oil. If I had some peppers, cherry tomatoes, those are good add-ins that you guys could do. I'm just using what I have on hand. Okay, so before I mix this all, I am going to season the spaghetti squash itself. So some salt, some pepper. I put some red pepper flakes as well when I was cooking the onions. Initially, I wanted to get those a nice golden color before I mix in the spaghetti squash. And we'll do some garlic powder and some onion powder. There's a lot in here, so I want a nice coating. So we will mix this up. Again, this would be a great time if we had, you know, some fresh tomatoes to add in. We just want all these flavors to come together. So we're going to let this cook for a little bit. The spaghetti squash is already cooked, but we want the flavors to come in. If you want a little bit more, we can add a little bit more olive oil. Just kind of, I want it on the pan, and then I'll mix it in. So it's nice and warm, because that's going to be our coating. Again, we're treating this like spaghetti. We want everything to have a nice flavor. So we'll let this cook for a few minutes, take it off the heat, and we will check back up on everything else. Alright guys, so we checked on the chicken after the 30 minutes, and I needed to put it in for 10 more minutes because I checked the thermometer, and it was at about 140. Okay, so if you guys can see, so you want to put it in a bigger portion of the meat, the meatiest area, not touching the bone or the pan, and you want this to be at least 160 degrees because you're going to let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. So it is going up. It's at 160. Coming up, I just checked it before. So it's going to come up to 165. We're going to let it sit for 5-10 minutes. So these are definitely done nice and golden and perfect. So we will plate everything else. Our spaghetti squash is done as well. Okay, so come over here, put some spaghetti squash down. So I added also some dried parsley and basil. Okay, and we had cooked in the onions and garlic, so that looks good. What would be great is if you do have some cherry tomatoes, you can add that in. So, fun fact about spaghetti squash compared to regular spaghetti. And you see how this is nice and shredded? In a cup of spaghetti squash, there are just 40 calories. In a cup of spaghetti, there's 200. So it's a big difference, and then look at this. Oh my god, look how amazing that looks. Okay, so we have this lovely spaghetti squash that shreds on its own just naturally. Okay, we are going to come over here to grab our chicken. Okay, we got a nice, yeah, let's go for this one, nice golden piece. Place that. Come over here and we will grab our green beans that I had mentioned we air fried, which I like. Okay, so there's just a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper. So we have our air fried green beans. We have our spaghetti squash. We have our chicken. And we're gonna check this out. So look, oh, that looks great. Looks great to me. So we're just going to add a little bit of fresh ground pepper on top of everything and a little bit of salt, just a tiny bit, and we will try our spaghetti squash. Look at this. You can twirl it just like regular pasta. Oh my god. Phenomenal. Perfect. Onions, garlic, that's all you really need. So that's something that you normally will have already in your pantry. That's exactly why I used it today. But again, great addition. Maybe some fresh cherry tomatoes. You can do mushrooms, peppers would be great. But you definitely want to have a mixture of your color. And then we have our green beans and then our chicken to go along with it. So hopefully you guys like this. If you did, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions of anything else that you want to see, leave it in the comments. And then if you do not want to miss another episode of Spider Monkey Eats, definitely subscribe to our channel, Ultimate MMA Plus. Hope you guys enjoy, and thank you for joining me for dinner.